Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The Galactic Council was stunned. Earth's defense left them speechless. The Galactic Council meeting was in full swing, an extravagant display of power and diplomacy as representatives from countless star systems argued over the fate of a small, seemingly insignificant planet on the outer edge of the Orion Arm, Earth. The Serac delegate, a towering figure of sinewy muscle and glistening scales, sneered as he addressed the assembly. "We've monitored this backwater rock for centuries. Primitive, divided, weak. They struggle to even reach their closest planetary neighbors. Their species is no threat to the galactic order," he declared, receiving approving murmurs from several other factions. Ambassador Arx of the Irani, a race renowned for their intellectual superiority, adjusted his neural diodes and spoke with a tone dripping with condescension. "Earth is not worth our resources or concern. Their technology is rudimentary at best. We should move forward with planetary integration or simply eliminate any resistance." But it wasn't the dismissal that was surprising. It was the silence that followed when the representative from the Coalition of Independent Systems spoke. Ambassador Juno, a sharp-eyed, steel-voiced woman with a reputation for strategic cunning, leaned forward. "Is that what you truly believe?" Arx tilted his head, confused. "Of course. Are you implying that these humans are anything more than a curiosity?" A slow, almost mocking smile crept onto Juno's face. "You think Earth is defenseless? You're wrong." The room erupted into laughter, loud and unabashed, from species who had conquered entire star clusters and rendered civilizations extinct. The Serac ambassador pounded a clawed hand on his podium. "Your coalition is known for its sympathies to weak races. Are you telling us that you've allied with Earth out of pity?" Juno didn't blink, didn't even flinch at the insult. Pity? No, respect. Silence fell again, this time curious rather than mocking. Juno activated her holodisplay, projecting reports and footage from deep space probes. 5 cycles ago, an Irani probe disappeared near Sol. You assumed it was a technical fault. The reality? It was shot down. Rex scoffed. "Impossible. No Earth weapon could detect our stealth systems." "That's what we thought. Until we examined the wreckage, the projectile that hit it. Simple kinetic. But the targeting system, that was human ingenuity at its finest. They didn't detect the ship. They predicted its path, calculated it based on gravitational anomalies and energy signatures. Shot it down from a planetary surface with a railgun prototype." Murmurs swept the chamber, disbelief mixed with intrigue. Juno swiped through more data. Images of wrecked scout ships, interference patterns jamming communication arrays, and human ships escorting alien refugees away from conflict zones. They've been reverse engineering stolen tech, integrating it with their own innovations. We underestimated them because they looked primitive. But humans, they adapt faster than any species I've seen. You know what they've been doing? Learning from every mistake, studying us while we dismissed them. They've been preparing. The Serac ambassador growled. "A few lucky shots and scattered reports don't make them a threat. They are nothing but animals playing with fire." Juno straightened, her expression hardened. "You thought Earth was defenseless. You thought humans would be crushed by the first sign of interstellar war. But you don't understand them. Their history is nothing but conflict, survival, rising from the ashes. When the Zarnak invaded their colony on Mars, humans didn't beg for help. They destroyed the Zarak forward base with explosives rigged for mining charges." The council chamber buzzed with uneasy energy. The Serac ambassador snarled, frustration clear on his face. "They're reckless, desperate. That's not strength." "Is it?" Juno shot back. "You think their unpredictability is a weakness. It's what makes them dangerous. They don't follow predictable patterns. They don't submit. And when backed into a corner, they fight like demons. Your arrogance blinds you. Humans are not to be underestimated. And if you bring war to their doorstep, they will make you pay for every inch." As the council murmured and whispered, the realization began to dawn on some. Earth wasn't defenseless. It was a powder keg waiting for the right spark to explode, and the galaxy had just begun to notice. Juno gave one last warning before leaving the podium. "Mark my words. Underestimate humanity, and it will be the last mistake you ever make." She left the chamber in silence, but the weight of her words lingered long after. The council knew they had a choice to make, peace or war. One would strengthen their alliance, and the other would ignite the most unpredictable force the galaxy had ever seen. Back on Earth, the mood was different. In a sprawling underground command center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Mark Donovan stared at the array of holographic displays in front of him. The room buzzed with energy as technicians and analysts monitored deep space feeds and tactical reports from the farthest human outposts. Colonel Reyes approached, her face set in a grim expression. General, we've just intercepted another transmission from the Galactic Council. It seems they're still debating our fate. Mark gave a short, humorless laugh. Debating whether to crush us or ignore us, you mean? Typical arrogance. He rubbed his temples, his gray hair a testament to years of stress and war. Any word from Ambassador Juno? Yes, sir. Her message is clear. Some of them still think we're easy pickings, but she managed to sow enough doubt to buy us time. The Sarek and Irani delegations are the most vocal about taking action against us. Mark clenched his jaw. Figures. The Sarek want to dominate, and the Irani want to preserve their so-called intellectual superiority. They won't accept humans disrupting their precious order. Reyes hesitated. Sir, there's something else. The scout ships we intercepted last week. They were Irani, advanced cloaking, top-tier surveillance tech. They've been probing our outer colonies, testing our defenses. Mark's fists tightened. They're looking for weaknesses. They're not just curious. They're planning. We can't let them catch us off guard. Reyes nodded. We've increased patrols along the Mars corridor and have repositioned the orbital defense platforms around Earth and Luna. Admiral Chen is overseeing the final upgrades to the Railven network. Good. If they come, they'll find we're not as helpless as they think. Mark turned back to the central display, where a map of the solar system pulsed with incoming data. He couldn't help but think of the early days, back when humanity was still scrambling to build reliable space travel. They'd been naive then, thinking they were alone. The first contact wars had shattered that illusion, and the brutal reality of the galaxy had forced Earth to become something entirely different. Survival had meant adapting, not just copying alien tech, but improving it, pushing it to new limits. Humans didn't just absorb. They innovated, twisted, and weaponized everything they learned. And the galaxy had no idea just how much they'd advanced. Sir, Reyes interrupted his thoughts. We've received word from the mining colonies on Titan. They've detected unusual gravitational signatures, likely a cloaked fleet. It matches the Sarek energy profile. Mark's eyes narrowed. They're testing our response. Prepare the Titan defense grid. Activate the decoy satellites. Let's see if they're bold enough to take the bait. Reyes gave a curt nod and began issuing orders. Within minutes, the Titan grid was humming with energy, railguns and missile platforms powering up while false energy signatures danced around the perimeter. Mark watched the screens intently. The Sarek were known for their brute force tactics, always charging in when they thought they had the upper hand. If they took the bait, it would give Earth a critical opportunity to study their fleet composition and battle tactics. Suddenly, a technician shouted, "Incoming transmission from the Sarek flagship. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put it through," Mark ordered. The hologram flickered to life, and the image of the Sarek warlord filled the room. Massive, scaled, and bristling with weapons. His yellow eyes glared through the screen. "Humans," he growled, voice rumbling like thunder, "you cower on your pathetic world, hiding behind your toys. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths swift." Mark stepped forward, his own gaze unyielding. "We don't surrender, warlord. And if you think Earth is defenseless, you're about to learn just how wrong you are." The warlord bared his fangs, snarling. "Bold words for prey. We will crush your defenses and raze your cities to the ground." "Try it," Mark replied, his tone colder than space itself. "You'll find that humans don't break. We bite back." With a savage roar, the warlord cut the transmission. Mark glanced at Reyes, who gave a firm nod. "Orders, sir?" "Hold fire until they cross the inner perimeter. Let them think we're too afraid to strike first. Once they're committed, we'll hit them with everything we've got. And send a message to Ambassador Juno. Let her know the Sarek are making their move." As the war drums of the Sarek echoed across the solar system, Mark knew that Earth's fate hung in the balance. But he wasn't afraid. Humanity had faced extinction before, and every time they'd clawed their way back from the brink. This time would be no different. The Sarek fleet emerged from their cloaking fields with brutal efficiency, a wall of spiked warships cutting through the darkness of space. Titan loomed in the background, its thick atmosphere swirling with methane storms, but the Sarek didn't care about the planet. They wanted blood. From the command deck of the Obsidian Claw, Warlord Korak snarled as he watched the human defenses light up on his screens. Weak, scattered energy signatures flickered across the Titan grid, nothing that could challenge the might of his armada. Forward, break their lines, and make them beg for mercy, Korak barked, his clawed hand striking the command console. His officers hissed in excitement, eager to taste the glory of conquest. But something wasn't right. One of his tacticians hissed with unease. Warlord, the energy signatures, they're erratic. Some of them are fluctuating without consistent power output. Malfunctioning, no doubt, Korak snapped, dismissing the thought. Their technology is a cobbled-together mess. Humans are barely out of their infancy. He watched as his ships moved in perfect formation, sleek black vessels bristling with plasma lances and electromagnetic cannons. The lead warships surged forward, preparing to unleash a torrent of firepower on the scattered human outposts. And then, all at once, the decoy satellites shut down. The Sarek fleet hesitated, confused, when suddenly the real defense grid activated. A perfect sphere of rail gunfire and missile salvos erupted from Titan's surface, slicing through the void. Korak snarled as two of his destroyers shattered, debris scattering into the icy rings of Saturn. "What is this trickery?" he roared. Back on Earth, General Mark Donovan watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "They took the bait," he murmured. Colonel Reyes stood beside him, eyes fixed on the tactical display. "They're trying to reorganize, but our interference field is scrambling their communications." "Good," Mark replied. "Keep up the pressure. Launch the orbital bombers from Europa. Target their rear formations. We'll herd them right into the kill zone." In space, the Sarek fleet struggled to regroup. Korak growled, slamming his fist into the console. "Deploy countermeasures. Scatter and flank. These humans dare to humiliate us." As the Sarek ships dispersed, a second wave of human ships appeared on the long-range sensors, Europa's bomber wing dropping kinetic projectiles that streaked through space like fiery comets. The Sarek rear guard shattered under the relentless barrage, explosions painting the darkness with vivid orange and yellow bursts. Warlord Korak roared in fury. How did they anticipate our attack pattern? They're supposed to be mindless savages." His second-in-command hissed, a trace of fear in his voice. "Warlord, they're using unpredictable tactics. Their formations change constantly. We can't get a lock on their patterns." Korak's jaw tightened as he struggled to comprehend the chaos unfolding before him. The humans were supposed to be weak and afterthought, but they fought like demons, turning every mistake into an opportunity. The Sarek were powerful, yes, but they relied on brute strength and unwavering confidence. Humanity's unpredictability shattered that confidence like glass. "Signal the fleet to fall back to the rally point," Korak commanded, hating himself for the order. "We must regroup and reassess." Before his officers could comply, a new signal pierced through their encrypted channels, a human transmission, calm and mocking. General Donovan's voice resonated through the command deck. "Running away already? I thought the Sarek were supposed to be fearless warriors. Guess I was wrong." Korak's eyes blazed with fury. "You dare speak to me as an equal, human filth?" "I'm just reminding you that picking a fight with Earth was your mistake," Donovan replied coolly. "You thought we'd roll over and die, but here's a lesson for you. Humans don't surrender, and we don't forgive." The transmission cut out, and the obsidian claw shuddered as more railgun slugs hammered its shields. Korak glared at his tactical officer. "Bring us about. Focus fire on their command ship." But even as he barked the order, new contacts appeared on the display, human frigates slipping into position behind his fleet, cutting off the retreat. The Sarek ships were trapped, encircled, their massive size now a disadvantage as agile human vessels darted through the gaps. Korak's confidence, once so unshakable, crumbled as he realized the truth. Earth wasn't just resisting. They were winning, and he had walked right into their trap. On Earth, Mark watched the chaotic retreat with grim satisfaction. "Send a message to the Galactic Council," he ordered. "Inform them that the Sarek attempted an unprovoked attack on a human colony and were decisively defeated. Make sure the footage of their flagship fleeing is prominently featured." Reyes couldn't suppress a smirk. "That'll send a message loud and clear." Mark nodded, knowing this was just the beginning. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long, but now the illusion of Earth's weakness was shattered, and the Council would have to think twice before declaring humans an easy target again. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's forces remained on high alert. The wreckage of the Sarek fleet drifted through Titan's orbit, the shattered hulks of warships slowly tumbling into the void. Recovery teams were already on their way to scavenge technology and gather intelligence, but General Mark Donovan wasn't celebrating. He stood in the war room, staring at the tactical displays that still pulse with activity. Colonel Reyes joined him, holding a data slate filled with after-action reports. Damage to the defense grid was minimal. We lost one escort frigate, but the crew managed to evacuate. The Sarek fleet has been effectively neutralized. Only a few crippled ships managed to escape. Mark didn't look away from the screen. Any word from Ambassador Juno? Yes, sir. She's in session with the Galactic Council. Reports are pouring in from their intelligence networks. They can't believe what just happened. Word spreading that the Great Sarek Armada was humiliated by a supposedly primitive species. Mark allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. Good. Let them choke on their pride. Reyes hesitated, glancing at the display. But we both know this isn't over. The Sarek will want revenge. The Irani will reassess their stance, and others might see this as an opportunity to test us. Mark nodded. Yeah, victory or not, we've just painted a target on our backs. They'll be coming, but that's fine. We'll be ready. As the news of Earth's unexpected triumph spread throughout the galactic community, chaos erupted within the council chambers. Ambassador Juno stood calm and resolute as representatives from countless star systems hurled accusations and arguments across the hall. This is unacceptable. Ambassador Arx of the Irani snarled, his neural diode sparking with agitation. Humans have demonstrated a blatant disregard for galactic order. They must be brought under control. Juno met his gaze with an icy calm. We defended our territory. The Sarek attacked without provocation. You'd rather see Earth destroyed just to maintain your sense of superiority. The Sarek representative, blood still staining his ceremonial armor, growled low and deep. Your kind dared to humiliate us. The dishonor cannot be forgiven. Your planet will burn. Juno raised an eyebrow. Is that the official stance of your government? To commit genocide because you lost a battle you started? The chamber fell silent as Juno's words echoed through the hall. The Sarek ambassador's mouth snapped shut, realizing too late that his threat had been recorded and broadcast to every faction present. Some delegates began murmuring, wary of aligning with the Sarek after such a brazen statement. Juno seized the moment, her voice firm and clear. Humanity didn't ask for this war. We didn't provoke the Sarek, nor did we threaten any galactic power. Yet we were attacked, and we defended ourselves. If the Council chooses to stand with the aggressors, then know this. We will not be victims. We will not be subjugated. Anyone who thinks Earth is easy prey is welcome to test that assumption. Just don't expect mercy when you fail. There was a palpable tension in the room. The weaker factions, often intimidated by the more dominant species, found themselves quietly impressed. Humanity had stood its ground and sent a clear message. They wouldn't be bullied. After the session adjourned, Juno retreated to the Coalition's private chambers, where a secure transmission awaited her from Earth. Mark's face appeared on the hollow screen, his expression as grim as ever. You put on a good show, he said. Juno sighed, rubbing her temples. Not sure it's enough. We humiliated the Sarek, and now they're too proud to back down. The Council's divided. Some want to punish us for disrupting the balance. Others are impressed with how we fought back. Either way, we're on everyone's radar now. Mark grunted. Let them come. We've got more surprises waiting for them. Juno leaned closer to the screen, her tone more cautious. Mark, I know you're confident, but this isn't just about battles. It's politics. We need allies, species willing to stand with us, not just out of fear, but because they see value in humanity's resolve. Mark's face softened just a bit. I get it. I'm not good at the diplomacy crap. That's why you're there. But know this. If they come for us, we'll make them regret it. I won't let Earth fall, no matter what. A faint smile touched Juno's lips. I know you won't. Just be careful. We're playing a dangerous game now. They'll come at us from every angle, politically, militarily, economically. We can't afford to be caught off guard. Mark nodded. Understood. I'll keep reinforcing our defenses and expanding our alliances on the fringes. Let's see how brave they are when they realize we're not just one planet. We're a force that refuses to bow. As the transmission ended, Juno took a deep breath. Humanity had shown its teeth, but the galaxy wasn't going to forget it. They had proven their strength, but now they had to prove their resilience. And Juno knew that the real battle was only just beginning. In the days that followed the battle, the Galactic Council remained in chaos. Factions argued, alliances shifted, and rumors of the Sarek defeat spread like wildfire. Species that had once dismissed humanity now scrambled to reassess their stance. Some saw opportunity in aligning with Earth, while others planned to exploit the fallout of the Sarek humiliation. Back on Earth, General Mark Donovan was reviewing the latest intelligence reports when Colonel Reyes hurried into the command center. "Sir, you need to see this," she said, handing him a data tablet. Mark glanced down and frowned. The report was from Admiral Chen, stationed at the Luna Orbital Command. Unidentified fleet approaching Sol system. Composition mixed species. At least 4 different factions. Energy signatures consistent with Irani, Vith, Tho, and Grill. His grip tightened on the tablet. "Are they forming a coalition against us?" Rice shook her head. "Not yet clear. They haven't made any aggressive moves, but they're broadcasting standard diplomatic frequencies. They're requesting a meeting at Luna Command." Mark narrowed his eyes, suspicion gnawing at him. What the hell are they playing at? The Irani and Tho hate each other. Grill haven't even been seen this far out of their home systems before. "Maybe they're scared," Rice suggested. "After the Sarek got their tails handed to them, these factions might be trying to gauge our intentions. Or they're here to pressure us into submission." Mark nodded slowly, his mind racing through the possibilities. "Tell Admiral Chen to accept the meeting request, but keep our defensive systems on high alert. And get me a secure line to Ambassador Juno." A few minutes later, Juno's face appeared on the holo screen, looking more exhausted than usual. "Mark, I heard about a coalition fleet at Luna. What's their angle?" "That's what I'm trying to figure out," Mark replied. "They're asking for a meeting, but I'm not buying it. These factions don't just band together without a damn good reason." Juno chewed her lip thoughtfully. "It's possible they're hedging their bets. After what happened with the Sarek, they're probably second-guessing their stance on humanity. Some of them might even be looking for allies, especially the Grill. They've always been opportunistic." Mark considered that, leaning back in his chair. "Think they're trying to intimidate us into playing nice, or testing our reaction?" "Could be both," Juno admitted. "But if they wanted to attack, they wouldn't bother with a diplomatic channel. My gut says they're feeling out our intentions. If we play this right, we might be able to turn it to our advantage." "All right," Mark agreed. "I'll head to Luna myself. If they're looking for someone to intimidate, they can try it face to face. You keep holding the line at the council. Make sure they know we're not backing down." Juno gave him a faint smile. "Just be careful. They might be looking for any excuse to provoke a conflict." Mark ended the transmission and glanced at Reyes. "Prep the Valkyrie and assemble a security detail. We're heading to Luna." As the sleek black shuttle Valkyrie hurtled through space, Mark sat in the cockpit, his mind running through scenarios. The last thing he wanted was to appear weak or desperate. Humanity had fought too hard to carve out a place in the galaxy to let some coalition of opportunists push them around. When they arrived at Luna Command, Admiral Chen greeted them with a sharp salute. "The delegation is waiting in Conference Room Delta." They insisted on meeting without heavy security. Mark scoffed. "Of course they did. They want to feel like they're in control. Make sure our forces are ready to respond if anything goes sideways." Entering the conference room, Mark found 4 alien representatives waiting, each distinct and unmistakable. Rix of the Irani sat at the far end, his neural diodes flickering with irritation. The Thno ambassador, a brutish, armor-plated giant, stood rigid and wary. The grilled diplomat, a wiry insectoid creature with countless limbs, clicked its mandibles rhythmically. And finally, the Gith emissary, a graceful figure wrapped in shimmering robes, watched with calculating eyes. Back at the Galactic Council, Juno had just finished another round of negotiations. She contacted Mark through a secure channel. "The fallout from the Sarek defeat is still spreading. A few smaller factions are cautiously approaching us with offers of cooperation. Seems like they're hedging their bets. They're too weak to challenge the big players, so they're looking for new allies." Mark smirked. "Let them come. We could use more friends. But be careful, they might just be gathering intel for the others." "Agreed," Juno replied. "But there's something else. The Irani delegation has been unusually quiet since your meeting on Luna. I think they're planning something. They're too proud to just let this go." Mark's expression hardened. "I expected as much. They've always seen themselves as the intellectual elite. Being outmaneuvered by primitives like us doesn't sit well with their ego. Keep digging. I want to know what they're planning before they make a move." "Will do. And Mark, be careful. We've proven we're not defenseless, but that just means they'll get more creative next time. He gave a short nod. You too. If they try to corner you at the council, don't hesitate to push back. We're done playing the underdog. As the transmission ended, Mark let out a slow breath. They'd won a battle, but the war for Earth's place in the galaxy was just beginning. He couldn't afford to be complacent, not when the galaxy was still looking for any sign of weakness. Down on Earth, life carried on as usual. People went to work, children played in parks, and news of the victory over the Sarek was celebrated with cautious optimism. But in the shadows, the gears of preparation never stopped turning. In a subterranean lab beneath the Colorado mountains, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, dissecting captured Sarek technology and integrating it with human innovations. Reverse-engineered plasma weapons, enhanced energy shields, and adaptive camouflage systems were being developed at a feverish pace. One of the lead engineers, Dr. Lena Vasquez, monitored a power fluctuation in the prototype railgun system when her assistant approached with urgent news. Dr. Vasquez, we've finished analyzing the wreckage from the Sarek flagship. You're not going to believe this. They were experimenting with a new form of bio-enhanced neural control. It's like they were trying to link their command systems directly to the warlord's brain. Lena frowned. Bio-neural control? Sounds risky as hell. What's the point? The assistant hesitated. It's designed to increase reaction time and combat efficiency. The problem is it makes them vulnerable to neural overload. If we can disrupt the link, we might be able to incapacitate their command structure without even firing a shot. A slow grin spread across Lena's face. Get me the schematics. If they come back for round 2, we'll make sure their own arrogance tears them apart. As humanity continued to prepare, one thing was clear. Earth was no longer just a backwater world ripe for conquest. It was a force to be reckoned with, and those who underestimated it would pay the price. And far beyond the solar system, in the dimly lit halls of the Sarek High Command, Warlord Korek faced the brutal consequences of his failure. Stripped of his rank and honor, he knelt before the Supreme Warlord, who glared down at him with cold, merciless eyes. You failed to crush a world of primitives, the Supreme Warlord hissed. You allowed them to humiliate the Sarek Dominion. Korek dared not raise his eyes. They were more formidable than anticipated. Their tactics were silence. The Supreme Warlord roared. You've brought disgrace to our people. The humans will earn their place through fire and blood. You are dismissed, and your name will be stricken from our history.